Just a second. So I hope it's visible now. So let me start today's discussion. So good evening, one and all, and I thank the IoT Academy for giving this wonderful opportunity to discuss a few things what is known to me. And I once again I welcome you all for 3 days national level virtual FDP on the art of research organized by IoT Academy. And today's my topic of discussion is writing articles for Scopus and Web of Science journals. I myself, Dr. Prem Kumar from Dayananda South College of Engineering, Bangalore. And today's discussion, so what I'll be discussing is it's completely about how we can write the papers and what are the tools are there to assist when you write any kind of research papers and how we can choose the journals. Okay, because people are writing the paper and they don't know where to submit and how to find the related journal, so that the people are struggling. So I just want to give a few instructions with regard to how we can select the journals and where we can submit our papers. Okay, so that kind of the thought what I have, so that I will be discussing with you. And in today's discussion, I'll be talking about how to write a quality research papers and the chat GPT. It's particularly I included because nowadays many of the people are start using this AI tool for research paper writing. So I'll be talking about only the pros and cons of the chat GPT, and also I'll be showing some the alternate tools for the chat GPT and what are the tools available apart from the chat GPT, so for the research purpose. So that I'll be discussing. And what are the research tools apart from this AI tools, and for writing, what are the tools are available, and for the citations or for reference management, what are the tools are available. So that I'll be discussing. And how we can select the journals once the paper is written. So where and how we can select the journals and how we can submit the papers to the journal. So that will be discussed maybe in the later slides. Okay, and also finally I'll be discussing what are the research profiles are required for the researchers. Okay, so researchers in the sense it may be a young researcher or the experienced researcher. And nowadays to reach the community, so we need some kind of a research profile. So I'll be telling you, so what are the research profiles as a researcher you have to maintain. Okay, so this is what my today's agenda. So first let me move on to the publication, so how to write the quality paper. So I'll start with importance of publications. That's where nowadays the people are asking so many questions. So why I have to publish, so what's the reason to go for publication. So these are all the key points I just listed. So apart from this, so many points are there, but I just kept only the key points. The very first thing is it's a dissemination of the knowledge. Yes, we are doing a research, and if we do research and if we keep it at ourselves, then what is the use of it? So we have to disseminate, and we have to disseminate the knowledge as well as the findings what you did. So see, we are working on particular area and we have to disclose what are the findings of that particular area, so or the particular methodology what we are going to do it. Okay, and if we share it with the scientific community, then obviously it will be very useful for the people to start with, or to extend that what the methodology you have used it. Okay, so that is dissemination is very important nowadays. Okay, and the validation and peer review. So yes, we are good at research, and we people are thinking that what we do is correct. So that's what the people's mentality, and that's what the researchers mentality. Okay, but the thing is it need to be validated. Okay, so that validation may be through the peer reviews, because when we submit the papers to the publication, so obviously it will be peer reviewed. Okay, so it will be sent to the experts who are in that respective field, so that they'll be comment on the quality, originality, and the validity of your particular research. So obviously this is very useful. Okay, and advancement of science. So as you know, the publications are fundamental means of advancing scientific progress. So if we are not disseminating, or if we are not publishing it, then definitely we cannot go forward and we cannot create any kind of a scientific breakthroughs. Okay, so I suppose if the Newton has not revealed what he has discovered, then now there is no most of the mechanical systems are zero now, I can say. So that's what we do, and that need to be published, or that need to be disseminated. The publication, it means that it's not only through the journal. It may be a conference, it may be a magazine, it may be a newspaper, whatever the medium it is. Okay, it need to be published. It need to reach the community people so that they can do some kind of research. And the career advancement, so that's what nowadays the people wanted. Okay, so suppose if they need any kind of a promotions, okay, or to increase the visibility or increase your reputation or the credibility, then obviously the publications are very important nowadays. Most of the people are assessed by the research publications. So I'm not saying it is correct or not, but nowadays it's assessed by the research publications. Okay, and academic recognition. Okay, yes, it's all the individuals the interest. Okay, then how I can excel in my career, or whether to recognized by the institute or some kind of research community. So for all these things, even this publication is very much important. Okay, and the impact on the policy and practice, this is what many of the people, they don't know. See, nowadays the policy makers, okay, or the practitioners or the professionals, they started referring to some kind of a research papers. Okay, when they want to create any kind of a new policy or the new practices, and they are taking the research publications as a evidence. Okay, when they do any kind of a decision making. Okay, so that's what the well-crafted research publications are very much important, because nowadays it is referred by the policy makers. Okay, so for that, again, the publications are very important, and the collaboration, the networking. Yes, so it may be no the collaboration with the internals or the externals, or maybe the foreigners. Okay, for all these research collaborations and networking, the publications are required, and it's a kind of a preservation of the knowledge. Because see, if we don't publish it, if we keep it out with ourselves, then the future generations will struggle. So obviously it's a kind of a preservation of the knowledge. So it will be, once it is published, it will be it has some kind of a permanent record, because nowadays most of the publications are coming with a DOI. So when it is having a DOI, then obviously it is a permanent record. So it may be useful for the future generation. So these are all the very important reasons why we need a publication. So I just listed very few, but apart from that, we have so many key points also. Okay, so what is a research paper? Okay, so now I'm just moving on to the publications. I'm just focusing only on the research paper. Okay, so when we talk about the publication, see, as I told, a lot of mediums are there. When I go with the journal publication also, there are multiple a version of the papers can be accepted for the publication. So for example, it may be a research paper, it may be a review paper, it may be a short communication, it may be a letters. Okay, so we have so many versions of publications are available, but my focus is only on the research paper side. So as you know, the research paper, it's a complete write-up. It's a complete paper, or it discusses complete analysis part of the complete methodology, and it evaluates, because when we propose some kind of methodology, and through the simulation or through the experimentation, we'll be evaluating it, or we'll be interpreting it. Okay, and we'll be giving some kind of experimental evidences. Okay, so but in case of, if the review paper, or it's a letter, or the short communication, then obviously we cannot expect some deep information, or we cannot expect some kind of empirical evidences. So in research paper, this empirical evidence or the experimental evidence is very much important. Without that, then obviously that paper cannot be considered as a research paper. Okay, as I said, it's a research paper, is a comprehensive document. It has everything. So it has the methodology, it has the findings, it has the analysis, it has the interpretation. The interpretation may be through some kind of a figures, or it may be some kind of tables. Okay, maybe some kind of a charts. Okay, so with the help of the interpretation, we'll be analyzing the findings, and that complete things will be included in the research paper. But these kind of the things are not available in the review papers. Okay, that's why the research paper is completely different from the review papers. And it is typically, as everyone knows, it's typically written by the scholars or the academicians. Okay, so it's not nothing new. Even nowadays the industry people are also publishing papers, but their most focus is only on the conference side, because they want some kind of a networking. They just want some kind of a research collaboration with the peers. So that's what that is, the industry people are also publishing papers. Okay, but mostly they'll prefer to go with the conference publications. But nowadays, even they also got awareness, and even the industry people also started publishing in the reputed journals. Okay, and the researchers state their findings plainly with corresponding evidences, as I said, so that other researchers can consequently use the paper in their own research. Because when we do some part of research, and when we publish it with some kind of evidences, and with that the others can continue that research. Okay, so this is what the research paper means. Okay, so in brief, what I can tell you is a research paper is a comprehensive document. It has that methodology, it has the results, it has the deep analysis, and maybe it will be having the interpretation, and through the figures or the charts or the tables, and it also has some kind of a challenges and also the future scope. So it's a complete pack. Okay, the research paper is a complete pack. Once you read any kind of a research paper, then so I mean the research paper means a quality research paper, because nowadays you can find so many papers in online, but I cannot say that it's all our quality papers. Okay, so I mean the quality. So this research paper, what I mean is a quality research paper. Maybe you can download it from any of the reputed publishers like IEEE, Springer, elsewhere, okay, or Taylor and Francis, Wiley. So we have some reputed publishers. If you refer to some papers which is published by the reputed publishers, yes, obviously you can find all these details what I have listed here. Okay, and how long the research paper is, the people, they want to write a research paper. So when they want to write a research paper, and what should be the length of the paper? So that's again a confusion for few people. Okay, because some people know they'll be writing the papers with 2-3 pages, or someone will write the papers in 80 to 90 pages. Okay, because some of my papers crosses even 70 to 80 pages. It looks like a thesis. Okay, so because it's all depends upon the field, so in which field we are working on. Okay, based on that, this length differs. So first you have to decide which paper you want to go, whether it is a research paper or the review paper or the short communications or letters. Okay, that you decided which one you want to go. Okay, and based on that you have to go with the length. Okay, so here, some journals have this kind of restrictions. Okay, but my suggestion, what I mentioned here, it's all from my own experience. Okay, so the maximum count, or the maximum word count for the research paper, it may varies from 2000 words to 12,000 words. Okay, this excludes the references. Okay, and maybe sometimes you can write even the longer paper, as I said. If it depends upon the field, because suppose if you are dealing with so much on the statistical analysis or the extensive data you have, you want to analyze all those data. Okay, or if you want to include some more discussions in the paper, okay, obviously this length may increase, but my suggestion, you can restrict within 12,000 words. Okay, that's more than sufficient. So you can communicate whatever you want to. Okay, that 12,000 words are sufficient. Okay, and here again I categorized it. If it is a research paper, it may be from 4,000 to 8,000 words. If it is a conference papers, yes, the 4,000 words are sufficient. But if it is a journal paper, you try to increase the number of words, you can go up to 8,000 words. Okay, and in common, the short papers have around 2,000 words, because when you submit any kind of a short papers in the website itself, they'll be having some kind of restrictions. The short papers cannot be more than 2 pages or 1 page, or it cannot be more than 1,000 words or 2,000 words. So if you plan to write any kind of a short papers, you try to restrict number of words to 2,000 words. And if you want to write any kind of a long research papers or the review papers, maybe you can go up to 12,000, sometimes maybe slightly more than 12,000 words is also accepted. Okay, so here when you focus on the words, You should not compromise with the quality also. Okay, the quality is also important. At the same time, the length is also important. So that's where the structured article plays a role. Okay, so when you write a research paper, you decide what content we have to keep it in the paper, and what are the, see, when you keep something, it should be useful for the reader. It's not for you actually. When you write the paper and when you're publishing it, it's not for you actually. It is for the readers. Okay, when you keep some kind of information, then obviously it should reach the audience. If it's not reaching the audience, then that paper, it's failure. Okay, so in that way, when you write the paper, you think like you are a reader. Based on that, you start writing the paper. You just keep it in mind. One is the quality, at the same time the length. So both are very important, because nowadays in most of the subscription based journals, they have a lot of restrictions, because even if you take some in the older days, elsewhere there is no restrictions with regard to the length of the paper. But nowadays each journal is giving length restrictions. It should not be more than 10 pages or 14 pages, like that. So many restrictions are coming. So when you submit the paper, you just read the guide for authors. So you'll get a lot of information about the length of the paper. But whatever I listed, it's all from my own experience. I'm just sharing it. And the structure of the paper. So what should be there in the complete research paper? So first, the title. So the title should be concise and informative. So this should not be more than 10 words. Okay, so within 10 words of length, you try to communicate. Okay, the title should be within 10 words. Then obviously it will reach multiple audience. Okay, and also don't keep any kind of a generic statement in the title. Okay, just be specific, because when the authors or when the readers search some papers with related to some key points, that time your paper may not be listed by the Google engine. Okay, so that's what you be specific to the research, and that specific title you have to keep it in the paper. The next one is abstract. And abstract, we have some kind of a restriction. So your abstract, it's, as you know, that it's a brief summary of your research. Okay, and it should be within 150 to 250 words. Okay, but my suggestion, you try to go with 200 words. It's always optimal, because most of the journal having this restrictions, they will not accept if your and the abstract has more than 200 words. Okay, so try to restrict, but sometimes you can go up to 250 words also, but it should not be less than 150 also. That also you have to keep in mind. The short abstract is also not good. You have to at least you keep 150 words. You can go up to 250 words. Okay, and introduction. So introduction, it should discuss the complete context of the research, and also it should give the proper and the necessary the background information about the particular research in which field you are doing it. Okay, sometimes nowadays in the introduction section itself, the people will be talking about the literature review, and very few papers you can find in online. They have the separate section for the literature review. Okay, but my suggestion is you try to have the literature review in the introduction section itself. Okay, so in the introduction section, first you do 1 or 2 paragraphs, you discuss about the context of the research, and also gives some kind of a background information. Then once that is done, you start discussing about the literature review. Okay, so you don't need to keep a separate section for the literature review. Again, this is my own perception. It's up to you. You can decide it. Okay, and it's a methodology. So this is the heart of your paper. Okay, so here you have to describe complete research design, or any kind of a sample selection, or the participant selection, if it is a kind of the server based papers, or the data collection, the data analysis. Okay, what method you are going to use, what algorithm you are going to propose. Okay, all those things need to be discussed in the methodology section. Okay, maybe through some kind of block diagram, or through some kind of pseudocodes, or through some kind of a flow charts. Okay, you try to explore your complete methodology, so that because this is the heart of the system. This is where the most of the people are failed. Okay, so if your methodology is good, then definitely you can clear some good quality journals. Okay, and the result section. So result section, most of the papers, okay, you could see they'll keep a lot of figures and the tables. But if you look at the paper, there won't be any kind of analysis about the results what they have achieved. Okay, that's why the people are lagging. Okay, so that I just want to tell you, you please try to focus on analyzing the results. Okay, even if you keep a less number of results, you have to analyze it deeply and we have to discuss all the findings. Okay, and also you should address the research question and supported by the relevant evidences. So evidences, as I said, it may be a simulation evidence or it may be experimental evidence. Okay, it may be anything. And also, if anything related to the statistics, you do a lot of statistical analysis, you do some kind of a statistical test if it is applicable. Okay, so this complete thing need to be there. And also, don't try to keep the unnecessary figures and unnecessary tables. If suppose if you are something conveying through the figure, that should not be reflected in the table. If you are communicating something through the table, that should not reflect in the figure, because most of the time you can see the paper, there'll be whatever they are there in the table, that they'll keep it as a figure also. So that's not required. Okay, it's a kind of a repetition of the same matter, so that the people don't like it. Okay, so you just be concise and you discuss all the analysis part, and I just this research, I can say the heart of your paper is the methodology as well as the result. Okay, and the discussion section, because nowadays the very few reviewers are asking to keep a separate section for the discussions. Okay, and here what you can do is you can have some kind of interpretation, or you can have some kind, whatever the research questions and objectives are there, you can analyze through the results. Okay, so and also there you can list out any challenges you faced, or any drawback of the methodology what you have proposed, and what are the advantages of the methodology you proposed. So all those things need to be discussed in the discussion section. And finally, the conclusion section. So conclusion section should summarize the key finding, okay, and their implications, and also it should restate the research questions and objectives what we have discussed in the introduction section. Okay, and you should give the you should give the concise summary, as well as in the conclusion section itself. What you have to do is you discuss or you disclose all the future scope of the methodology what you have proposed. Okay, that's important nowadays. Okay, even if you send the paper, the reviewers will be asking this question. Try to include the future extension of your work. Okay, so just try to have some one paragraph discussion about the future scope of your methodology. Okay, and the references, it's very important. Okay, it's very important, and try to keep only the related and new reference papers. Okay, and also you have to cite those papers properly throughout the paper. Okay, wherever you're referring it, that need to be cited properly. Okay, and if any kind of appendixes are there, or if you want to include some kind of mathematical modeling, or if you want to include some kind of a pseudo course, need to be disclosed only in the appendixes. Okay, so that you can keep it as appendix. Okay, and also one more thing apart from this, nowadays the people are start asking what is the author contribution statement, the ethical statement. Okay, conflict of interest. Okay, so many things are there. So after all your reference part, okay, so you have to keep all your author contribution statement, all your ethical statement, okay, consent for publication, everything you have to keep it. Okay, but this is a standard structure. Okay, then based on the publisher, that extra matters you have to keep it in the paper. Okay, but this is mandatory. Okay, and the structure of the most of the paper, so this it's again a continuation, it's a kind of a consolidation of what we discussed in the previous slide. So one thing I didn't discuss in the previous slide is the cover letter, but nowadays the cover letter plays a major role. So this is where the people are not focusing. So I just want to give a more impression on the cover letter, because nowadays when you submit the paper, now the editor-in-chief, because lot of thousands of submissions are coming to the quality journals. Okay, when thousands of submissions are coming, okay, the editor-in-chief or the subject editors, they cannot read the complete papers. Okay, so what they will do is they will try to read the cover letter. Okay, so in the cover letter, usually what the people will do is they'll keep only the paper title, and they will say that we have not submitted somewhere else or something, some few generic statements they'll keep, and they'll submit the cover. They'll not give much focus on the cover letter. But what I'm saying is cover letter is very important. You try to spend at least half an hour to 1 hour to write the cover letter. Okay, so there you try to disclose what is the novelty in the paper. Okay, and also you try to disclose how your paper is matching with the journal scope of. Okay, that is also very important, because they want to see that whether the paper submitted is within the scope of the journal. Okay, so for that purpose, you try to disclose that okay, you can have some kind of one statement that okay, so we have referred to some papers in the journal, what it is recently published, okay, and you can also refer to the reference section of the paper, so that, or you can also refer to the result section of the paper, and you can see that how our paper is matching with the scope of the journal. Like that one statement if you include, then the people or the editor will understand that okay, that paper is also within the scope of the journal. Okay, so you just focus on the cover letter, you try to give some more importance for the cover letter, and try to prepare the one beautiful cover letter when you submit a paper. Okay, this is one important thing, so that you have to follow. If you follow, then definitely you can avoid all the disk rejections. That's what I can say. So this is again the consolidate the figures. The title, it should not be more than 10 words. Abstract, it should be 150 to 200 words. And introduction and literature review, you should do the thorough literature. Okay, and as I said, the method or methods or methodology, it should be specific. Don't discuss any generic discussion, or the known fact you don't need to discuss in the methodology section. Whatever you propose, that need to be disclosed in the methodology section. And the results, it should be a comprehensive analysis you should provide, and the discussion sections, you have to discuss the findings, the limitations, and the challenges, and the conclusions and the future extension. As I said, it should be a concise summary, and you try to have one small paragraph to discuss about the future extension of your method. Okay, and also the acknowledgements, if you have any kind of funding, so you try to acknowledge the funding agency, or if you want to acknowledge any of the researchers, that also you can do it in the acknowledgement section. And with regard to the references, okay, again, this is again the people are making mistakes. They will submit a paper with 5 to 6 reference papers. Okay, that's not correct, because when we write the research paper, you should refer at least 25 recent and relevant research papers. Okay, that's where you have to focus. Okay, so try to have at least of 25 research references for the research paper, and minimum 100 papers you have to refer when you write a detailed review paper, so that you people please try to note it. Okay, and also, as I said, avoid unnecessary tables and figures. Okay, if something is conveyed through the table, don't discuss the same with the figure. That's what you have to maintain it. Okay, so this is with regard to the structure of the quality research papers. That's what I can say. And now I'll focus on the chat GPT. So now this buzzword, no, everyone started using it, the chat GPT. Okay, so my question is it effective writing tool? Yes, it is an effective writing tool. As you know, it's a tool for generating ideas. Okay, and also you can do some kind of initial draft of your research paper. However, when you write any kind of a draft, okay, then you have to consider the following points. Okay, if you don't consider it, now then obviously you cannot clear the journal. Okay, so the very first point is the fact checking. So as everyone knows, the chat GPT, it is trained by a lot of internet resources. Okay, whatever papers are there on online, okay, this chat GPT algorithms are trained with the help of those data. Okay, so when it generates some data, there may be a chance of giving a wrong information about the particular question. Okay, so as a researcher, you have to do the fact checking. Okay, when the informations are generated, okay, by the chat GPT, you have to check the information generated are valid or not. Okay, then you have to take it forward. If you take blindly what is there, what is generated by the chat GPT, then it may sometimes it will fools you. Okay, so you have to be very careful when you generate some kind of the statements with the help of the chat GPT. And critical thinking. So as you know, the chat GPT, it's a text-based tool. Okay, so it can generate text, but it may not always provide comprehensive analysis. Okay, so because when we have some kind of experimental readings or experimental data, okay, that as a researcher, because we are the expert, okay, we have to analyze and we have to evaluate the data, or we have to evaluate our results what we have. Okay, the chat GPT cannot analyze your results. It cannot do any kind of a comprehensive analysis. It may give some kind of a draft analysis. With that draft analysis, incorporate your own analysis and interpretation, so that you can improve the quality of your paper. And the structure and organization, if you ask the chat gpt to write the paper, it don't know what structure should be, and it don't know what is the organization of the paper should be. Okay, as I said, it's just a text based algorithm. So what it can do, whatever the data is there, that it will give it to you. Okay, so it's your duty that you have to provide up, or you have to make your paper in the proper structure, and you have to organize your paper in the proper structure, but your chat gpt cannot do it at all. Okay, and the citations and referencing, so this actually no, nowadays the add-on came. Okay, so as of now, ChatGPT 3.5 is common to all the users. Okay, so if you go with the ChatGPT 3.5, it is not having any kind of a built-in citation or the referencing capability. Okay, because when you write the paper, you need to prepare your paper, or you need to prepare your references with proper formatting. But this ChatGPT is not having it. But suppose if you have a premium membership, maybe some add-ons are available for referencing, so maybe you can use it, but it will not give the proper citations, because as I said, the one content is trained by multiple papers, so it cannot find the proper reference paper for that particular content. So that's a problem with the AI tools. Okay, so as a researcher, you have to do a proper citation and proper referencing. Okay, so with this I just told what are the problems with the chat gpt. So when you write any kind of a research paper, you please try to check all these things. Okay, if it is okay, okay, if the fact is okay, and if the content generated by the chat gpt is giving some kind of a deep analysis, or if it is organized in the proper way and with the proper citation, the referencing, then obviously you can use it. But nowadays, again, that is another problem. You know, when you submit a paper to any of the journal, okay, so it will be checked for the plagiarism. Okay, so nowadays the plagiarism tools also having some the AI detection. Okay, so for example, we have a Turnitin tool. The Turnitin tool is having the AI feature. Okay, when you scan the paper, okay, when you scan the paper through the Turnitin, it will give two scores. One is the similarity report it will give, and also it will give the AI score. Okay, sometimes the similarity report, it will show only 5% of the plagiarism. Okay, but if you look at the AI score, it will be more than 30%, 40%. Okay, in such case, your if you submit the paper before checking, okay, if you submit the paper, the journal may blacklist you, because nowadays when you submit the paper, the journal itself asking, have you used any kind of AI tools like ChatGPT or the Quillboard or something else? Okay, the dial or bard, okay, whatever the AI tools we have. Okay, so if it is written by the AI tools, it need to be sorry, it need to be disclosed in the acknowledgement section. If you don't do it, again, your journal will ban you to submit the papers. Okay, so as I said, that sorry, the Turnitin tool, it will give the AI score. If your AI score is more than 10%, you are in danger. Okay, so then obviously the getting rejection is more. Okay, so you have to be very careful if you write any papers with ChatGPT. If you submit to some third quality journal, it's okay, because they are not doing all the checks with the Turnitin tool and all. But when you go for the quality research publications, okay, especially for the research scholars, or the UG scholars or the PG scholars, okay, even the young faculty with even the doctorates. Okay, so when you write the papers with these kind of tools, then it may spoil your career also. Okay, so don't use it as a supporting tool, but don't use it like a main tool. That's what my suggestion is. Okay, so as I said, apart from the chat gpt, we have so many tools are there. Okay, I just listed very few tools here. Okay, you can see that for writing, so many tools like Notion, Monica, essay surveys, my essay writer, and ChatGPT 4 is there. Okay, but 3.5 is for the all users, but now 4 is only for the premium users. Okay, and some kind of search engine optimization tools also available. Okay, even the cheap the SEO GPT is also available. Okay, and for the codings, Okay, we have so many AI tools are available, because if you write any kind of a codings, you can use any of these tools to write the course. It may be any kind of a language. It may be a C or C++ or Java or Python, whatever it is. Okay, even any MATLAB script, whatever it is. Okay, you can generate through this kind of a coding tools. Even the ChatGPT also can give some kind of a basic coding for you. Okay, and some kind of a logo generator tools or productivity tools are there. Okay, and some kind of a image generator. So the problem with the open chat gpt is it will generate the text, but it will not generate any kind of a image. Okay, so but we have some kind of AI tool which can generate the images also. Okay, that's what here you can see: the stable diffusion, CART, Lucet, okay, Pepley, synthesis, a doll is also there. Okay, nowadays the doll is came with a lot of features. You can use the doll also. Okay, for the image generators. Okay, suppose if you generate any kind of results using this image generator, nowadays the journals are having the AI tools. If any kind of a manipulation is there in the image, that it will spot it very easily. Okay, so don't do any kind of a image manipulation or result manipulation also. So because now a lot of AI tools also available to catch hold that data manipulation or the result manipulation. So you have to be very careful nowadays. Okay, even some tools are available for audio generation and for video generations as well. Okay, so these are very few tools. It may be useful for you when you write any kind of research paper. It's not prepared by me. I just took it from some random Google search. Okay, so maybe you'll be getting some more tools more than this. Okay, but these tools, I personally use very few tools for some of my applications. Okay, you can also use it. Okay, so apart from that, what are the writing tools we have? Okay, this is only to write the papers. Okay, so it's only about the office tools. Okay, we can say one is the Microsoft Office that everyone knows. Even our many of 90 percentage of the people are using the Microsoft Office. Okay, and the people who are working a lot on mathematics, okay, the people who go with the latex. Okay, so Microsoft Office, as you know, it's a fully commercial version, but latex it's not a commercial, it's open source. Okay, so if you are familiar with latex, you try to go with the latex since it is open source or it's free. But when you go with the Microsoft Office, it's a user friendly, but the thing is it's a commercial. Okay, so if you have the licensed version, then obviously you can go with the Microsoft Office. And Open Office, again, this is another two Open Office tools are there. One is Open Office and the LibreOffice. So these two are the open source office tools. Okay, these also you can use it when you write. But I feel that Microsoft Office is the user friendly one. Okay, if you have the commercial version, you can go with that. Okay, but suppose if your paper has a lot of equations, if you are dealing completely with mathematics, even most of the mathematics based journals, they prefer to prepare the paper only with the latex. If you submit the paper with the Word or .doc or .docx, okay, they will not accept your paper also. They will ask you to prepare the paper in the latex. So either you can use MS Office or the latex, so both are good tools. Okay, and then I have listed some other open source office tools also. Okay, and to plot, okay, and to plot, so suppose if you want to draw any kind of a flow diagram or the flow chart or the block diagram, some kind of some visual representation, if you want to have it in your paper, you can use all these tools. Okay, so one is Microsoft Visio and draw.io, eDraw Soft and Inkscape and GIMP, Tix, okay, SmartDraw, Glyphy, Kaku. So I just listed very few tools, but apart from that, so many tools are available. But why I listed these tools are, the first two tools, it's very important tools, okay, because the first two tools have almost all the required the templates. That's what I can say. Okay, but one thing is the Microsoft Visio, it is a commercial version. If you have the commercial MS Visio, then obviously it is good, or else what I suggest is you try to go with the draw.io. The draw.io, it's a completely it's a free tool, it's an open source tool. Okay, you'll be having both online version as well as the desktop version. You can download and you can have it on your laptop. you can work on it. It's very nice tool. I personally use this Draw.io. Even sometimes I'll use MSVCO, but most of the time I'll use Draw.io. It's a very nice tool. Okay, as I said, it has a lot of templates. Okay, it may give the visual representation for most of the research fields. Okay, so I personally suggest Draw.io, but if you have commercial version, you can go with MSVCO also. Okay, apart from that, what are the tools that are available for the reference management? Okay, I just listed very few tools here: Zotero, Mendeley, EndNote, RefWorks, Citavi, Paperpile, and Dossier. Okay, out of all these tools, some tools are free and some tools are commercial version. Okay, so here the tools what I suggest is Mendeley and EndNote. Okay, but EndNote is a commercial version. If you have the licensed EndNote version, maybe sometimes if your institute or the universities is having the subscription with Clarivate Analytics, okay, they'll be giving you subscription for the EndNote also. You can take the licensed version of the EndNote and you can start use it. Okay, other one is a Mendeley. Mendeley is provided by the Elsewhere, and it's completely free of cost. Okay, and it is very user friendly compared to EndNote. The Mendeley is user friendly, but mostly I can say both will be almost same. But I feel the Mendeley, I personally feel that Mendeley is a user friendly tool, and also it's an open source tool. It's a free tool. The free tool in the sense it has some kind of a memory restrictions. Okay, that you just check it. I personally suggest Mendeley is a very good referencing tool, and I prefer or I suggest all the research scholars, okay, try to use some kind of a reference management software. Okay, it will ease your work, or else you have to spend a lot of time only to list your references, only to cite your references. If you use these automatic tools, it will do all the process whatever you need it. So I suggest you go with some kind of reference management softwares when you write any kind of research papers, and particularly it will be useful when you write any review papers as well as the thesis, because in thesis and review papers you'll be going with more number of references. Suppose if you insert any one reference in between, if you do manually, you have to do a lot of exercises, but this Mendeley will do the automation process. Okay, so try to use some kind of reference management tools. The next one, how to choose a journal. Okay, so far what we discussed is how to write a paper. Now I'll be telling you how to choose a journal. So when you want to choose a journal, you have to look at 4 key points. One is, what audience do you want to reach? Okay, if you write some paper in particular field, you have to see whether the journal is having that scope or not, and who reads the journal. So this is very important, because why I'm telling this is when you write a paper, it need to be referred by someone. If someone is not using the journal at all, if you publish a paper in that respective journal, then what is the use of it? That's where now the people are doing a lot of mistakes. They are publishing paper, they are working in the computer science field, but they publish the paper in the psychology field. They'll publish the paper in psychology journal. Then what is the use of it? No one will read your paper. Okay, so when you submit a journal or when you choose a journal, you just see that whether your paper is within the journal scope, or whether who is reading your paper or the journal. So that is very important when you choose the journal. The next one is, how prestigious is the journal in your field? Okay, so this gives the quality of your paper. Okay, if your journal is prestigious journal, when you publish a paper, then the people will say that yes, your paper is a quality research paper, because they have a dedicated peer reviewers, okay, and dedicated experts to do reviewing. Okay, if you publish your paper in those reputed prestigious journal, then obviously it will increase the quality of your paper as well. Okay, and when you choose a journal, you have to see that how long they are taking to publish, how long they are taking to review, how long they are taking to publish a paper after acceptance. All these things you have to check. Okay, and then finally you have to check the cost, because nowadays most of the journals are coming with open access model. Subscription journals are nowadays it's getting limited. Okay, when you go with open access journals, okay, so obviously you have to bear the article processing charges. So here the meaning of the open access journal and the predatory journal is different. The predatory journal is you'll be paying some money, you'll publish the paper, whatever the content you give, okay, they will publish. that is a predatory journal. Just by getting money, they will not do any kind of review and they'll publish it. But the open access journal, it is a repeated journals. The open access, what I mean is open access repeated journals. Okay, so there, what is the advantage of publishing it? What is the drawback of the publishing it? That I'll tell you. The advantage of publishing it is the readers can refer your paper without paying any cost. Suppose if you publish a paper in the subscription based journal, the reader has to pay money and he has to take the paper to read it. So that no, what will happen once you publish a paper, you will not get any kind of a visibility and you will not get any kind of a citation for your paper. When you publish a paper in open access journal, one thing is the readers can download the papers at any point of time without any cost. That is one thing. And you'll be getting the super fast reviewing. Okay, sometimes the subscription based journal will take time up to 2 years, 3 years also to review the paper. But the open access journals, they have some kind of a time limitation. So if that time limitation is over, then they'll send the paper to some other reviewer. So you'll get quick decision about your paper. Okay, and the drawback is only the money. Okay, so the open access quality research papers, if you want to publish in the high quality open access journal, now you have to bear around $1,500, $2,000, $3,000. Okay, if you have enough funds, yes, obviously you can go with that. And indexing databases, again, again you have to look at it. When you choose the journal, you have to see that where that journal is indexed and what is the quartile of the journal. Okay, that's very important nowadays. Okay, you have to see that whether it is indexed by SCI or ESCI or SSCI, or it is indexed by Scopus, or it is indexed by Google Scholar or some other indexing databases. Okay, the top creamy layers, the SCI and SSCI, these are all the creamy layer. And the next layer is ESCI, okay, and the CPCI is nothing but a Conference Proceeding Citation Index. SCI is Science Citation Index Expanded. SSCI is Social Science Citation Index, and ESCI is the Emerging Science Citation Index. Okay, so many things are there. So these are all the different indexing levels, and that indexing is given by the Clarivate Analytics. Even in the Clarivate Analytics, also we have a quartiles like Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Okay, and this quartile and the quartile of the Scopus is different, so don't confuse these two quartiles. Okay, the Q1, Q2 is there for Clarivate also, that is for Web of Science journals also, and elsewhere also there, but both are different quartiles. Okay, for example, I'll tell you the Q1 Scopus paper may be in Q3 SCI paper. Okay, it doesn't mean that Q1 will be always only in Q1 SCI. No. Okay, so again, because they have their own scale, the Clarivate Analytics is having their own scale. Based on that scale only, they'll be categorizing the quartiles. Okay, this Scopus, many of the people knows about it. Okay, there also we have a quartiles, site score, everything is there. When you publish a paper, just look at the site score as well as the quartile, and as you know, this indexing is given by the elsewhere. Okay, apart from these two big indexing databases, we have so many. Then one known databases, Google Scholar, and nowadays even some of the people are looking for the UGC approved journals. Okay, all these are the indexing databases. Okay, you just see that whether the journal what you are going to select, whether it is indexed by any of these indexing databases or not. If it is not indexed, it's waste of publishing your paper in that particular journal. Okay, and threats of predatory journal, as I told, you have to be very careful when you go with the predatory journals. The predatory journals, every day they'll send you a mail to submit your paper. When you submit a paper, they'll ask you to pay a huge amount. When you pay the huge amount, immediately your paper will be published. But that paper will not be available at free of cost. Okay, and it will not be indexed by any of the indexing databases. They'll say that it is indexed by SCA and Scopus, but once your paper is indexed, if you contact the Scopus team or the Clarivate team, they will say that yes, it will not be indexed because it's a predatory. So predatory is a kind of a clone journal is also available, and clone journal in the sense with the same name of the journal, they'll open another site. Okay, and they will redirect all the authors to that clone journal, and they'll take money and they'll publish whatever you send. Okay, so you have to be aware of all these predatory journals. Okay, because if I discuss anything about the predatory journal, this itself needs 1 hour of discussion. Okay, I just give you small discussion about what is that predatory journal. So you have to be very careful when you receive any emails from the journals stating that submit a paper, we'll publish in 24 hours, like that. If any emails comes, you please kindly ignore and just go forward with whatever the method what I told earlier. Okay. And the statements of work and the conflict of interest, this is what I told, depends upon the publisher. You have to increase all these statements in your paper. Okay, one is the author contribution, and another one is the conflict of interest or the funding resources acknowledgement. All these things need to be disclosed in the paper. Okay, so this is again, nowadays it's mandate. When you go with any kind of a high quality publishers, you have to disclose everything. Okay. And submitting your paper, so where you'll be submitting, so you don't submit your paper with to the multiple journals. Okay, if you do it, okay, if you do it, and you will be banned, because nowadays the journals are tracking all these multiple submissions. If any author is doing multiple submissions, okay, and you will be banned for 3 to 5 years. You cannot publish any papers with in that particular journal. Okay, so it spoils your reputation also. Okay, so don't do any kind of a multiple submissions. If you submit a paper to one journal, wait for the decision. Once the decision is positive, you go forward. Once the decision is negative, you just go to the other journal. Okay, don't do multiple submission. This is my request to everyone. Okay, please follow this. Okay, and as I said, before submitting your paper, you check the plagiarism for the similarity. Okay, so the similarity, if it is less than 15 percentage, yes, it is always good. Okay, sometimes you can go up to 20% also. That depends upon the journal, but my suggestion is try to reduce your similarity within 20-15 percentage. Then always you are on the safe side. And don't do the plagiarism scanning through any of the online tool or the free tools. Okay, so only you have to scan your paper with the authorized or authenticated the plagiarism tools. Okay, the two tools I listed, one is Authenticate and Turnitin, and these two are the biggest leaders in the plagiarism, but some other tools also available. Okay, but these two tools are very professional tools. As I said, the Turnitin is also having the AI feature. Okay, so that also you have to check it. Okay, and once your paper is ready to submit, and you have to see where to submit. Okay, that's what we have, some kind of a recommendation systems nowadays. Okay, so I just give quick the review of this recommendation system. I just go to the elsewhere recommendation system. See, for example, I just want to submit some papers in some of the elsewhere journal. Okay, but I don't know where to submit. Okay, so for that we have some kind of a recommendation system called elsewhere journal finder. You just click this. Okay, once you click this, you just go to that respective web page. So here you can see that this respective web page, it will ask you to put the abstract of your paper. Okay, so what I can do is just to have a small demonstration. So what I do, I take one of the paper what is already published. Okay, I'll just take one of the paper. Okay, and I'll just copy the abstract of the paper. Okay, and I'll just put it here. I just put it here. So suppose if you write any papers, you that whatever the abstract is there. Okay, so I think it's not fully copied. I had a mistake, sorry. So I just copy the full abstract. I just put it here. So you put the complete abstract and just click find journals. Okay, when you do this, now the journals also having the AI tools. With that AI tool, what it will do is it tries to match your given abstract with the papers what is published in various journals. Okay, based on that, my journal finder is recommended many journals. Here you can see that it recommended so many journals. Okay, it recommended so many journals. Now it's your duty, you have to select which journal is best for me. How you can select that? Based on your metrics, as well as based on your acceptance rate, based on the duration, based on the fee. Okay, so here you can see there are two metrics is there. One is the site score and the impact factor. You see the site score is 13.1 and 6.7. It is a very good impact and very good site score. And actually this is Q1 Scopus and it is a Q2 SCI. Okay, and you can see that acceptance rate of this journal is 20%. So out of 100% of submission, 20% of the papers are accepted, and this is also quite okay. And you can see that the for time to first decision, it's about 4 weeks, and time to publication after acceptance is about 2 weeks. Okay, this is also quite reasonable. Within 4 weeks you will get to know the first decision of your paper. Okay, and also with regard to the fund, okay, see that there is a publication model. There are two publication model. One is open access model and another is a subscription model. So this is a hybrid journal. So it means that you can publish your paper in the subscription mode without any cost, and you can also publish a paper with open access. With you, if it is an open access model, you have to pay around $3,300. Okay, if you pay this, yes, you can publish your paper in open access. Okay, so if you feel this journal is good, okay, what you can do, just go to submit paper. You can do it, or if you want to read the guidelines for the authors, that you for that you can see that visit journal page. You can go to the journal page, see the reputation of the journal as well, and also scope of the journal. You can see that the scope of the journals will be there. Just look at the scope of the journal. So if it matches with the scope of your paper, then definitely just click this and go. It will take you to the submission system and do some kind of initial registration and submit your paper. That's it. It's very simple. Okay, so likewise we have the recommendation system for the many publishers. Initially the Springer journal suggester was there, but nowadays I don't know why it's not working. It's not working now for the Springer, but for other publishers working now. It's working fine. Okay, and these are all the publisher specific journal recommendation system, and these two are the general recommendation system. You can use any of the recommendation system to find the respective journal for you. Okay, and the peer review process, I think many of you people know. Once your paper gets a decision about acceptance or rejection, you take it. Okay, take it positive and just move forward. Okay, as I told, what are the author profiles you have to maintain. So I just listed very few authors profile here. So these are all the mandate profiles. If you keep it, then definitely the visibility of you will increase. Okay, that I'm sure about it. Okay, see, the first one is the ORCID ID. So now this ORCID ID or ORCID ID, it's a common, it is a mandate even when you submit your paper to any of the reputed publishers. Okay, it is a unique ID for the researcher. Okay, once this ID is created, and you can use it for any kind of submissions. Okay, but it's a unique ID for each researcher. The next one is the research, because this is very useful to track the researcher profile, or to track about the particular researcher, or to track about the research of that particular researcher. Okay, so this is very important nowadays. Now the journals making mandate to create ORCID ID or ORCID ID. Okay, the next one is the researcher ID. This is given by the Web of Science or Clarivate. So initially it was maintained by Bubloons, but now again it is taken back by the Clarivate Analytics itself. So you can create a profile with the Clarivate Analytics. Okay, suppose if you have one paper in the Clarivate or the Web of Science, then obviously you can easily create a profile with the researcher ID. Okay, the next one is a Scopus profile as a Google Scholar profile. Suppose if you publish one paper in the Scopus indexed journal, automatically the Scopus ID will be created for that particular author. Okay, once it is done, you try to improve your profile. Then from there, whatever the paper you publish, that will accommodate in your profile. Okay, so because nowadays when you submit your resume to some other for any kind of a job application, they'll ask you to give the Scopus ID, so to check how many Scopus papers you have published it. So for that, no, the Scopus profile is very important. Similar way, the Google Scholar profile is also very much important. So to create a Google Scholar profile, you should have the official email ID. Once you have the official email ID, yes, you can create a Google Scholar profile. In the Google Scholar profile, you can include whatever the publication you have, whether it is a research paper or a review paper or the conference or a journal, or it's a short communication, it's a lecture, it's a magazine, or it is a newspaper, whatever it is. Okay, that you can include it in the Google Scholar profile. Then apart from that, we have a social medias like ResearchGate, Academia, Media, and Microsoft Academic ID, and these three are the social media. Okay, it will give the wide publicity for you. So try to have your profile in any one of the social media, and also I personally suggest to have the website for you, because nowadays a lot of free website tools are there. You can create your own website and just keep update your the progress in the website. Share your website with all the people, all the peers, so that you can increase the visibility of yourself. Okay, that's very important nowadays. Okay, to have the good citations, good visibility, good reputation. These are all the things mandatory nowadays. Okay, and acknowledgement. I just acknowledge the contents of other peers whose contents are being used to comprehend the subject better. And I do so solely for academic purposes, and I do not claim any ownership of any of the contents of other peers. So, with this acknowledgement, I just want to conclude my session with great thanks to you, because it's not easy to listen the session organized at 7 o'clock. So thanks for your patient listening. And with this note, I just conclude my discussion. So if you have any doubts, okay, you can contact me at any time.